Shao Kahn created us as well. You cannot kill what is already dead. Magic binds me still.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a little special extra video for you, which is more of a tutorial. And this is the very first tutorial video that I'm doing, so please excuse if not everything might be perfect right away. We will see if we can get there with the time. But for today I've decided it would be a nice idea to present to you the concept of something called interruptive gameplay. Now some of you might go, what on earth is interruptive gameplay? What is he talking about? MK Mobile is to usually just tap tap, press a special attack and hope for the best. Or isn't it? Well, the answer is obvious, otherwise there wouldn't be this video, and it's a clear no, because there are so many strategies you could come up with just to play through your hard battles. So then let me explain what I'm about to go to show you today. So as the name already suggests, interruptive gameplay means that you are trying to interrupt the basic attacks or strings of your opponent, so that on one hand you take way less damage than you usually would, and of course that you can counter either with strong basic attacks or a special attack. There are a few possibilities. So first here you would see like normal gameplay, you are executing your basic attacks, you perform the combo ender, you're getting into the next string, combo ender again, then you block, and after the attack is done you are countering again, starting with your next string. Now Jade is using the Embracing the Shadow passive, which basically stops the screen and gives you the opportunity to counter the attack of the opponent. And while she slows down the time, you actually can see how long some characters take for their basic strings. Especially Kano stands out here, but also Hanzo has these slow moments in his string, especially when he's starting with his kick, as he does here. Now the goal is basically just to attack the opponent in the moment when they are vulnerable during their basic attacks. Just that we don't only do it with MK11 Jade, we will try to do this basically with every other character, so that you don't even need MK11 Jade, but can basically perform the same thing. And as I already mentioned Kano, let's have a look. So if we are starting to really analyze his basic attacks, he has very fast punches, then a slow kick with 2 slow headbutts, and then the fast punches again, and then back to the slow movements. And while we are analyzing the movements of our opponents, of course you can do this with every character, just block and see how they move. Are they very fast? Do they start slow? Do they end slow? Are they wide open somewhere in between? You will just analyze exactly their moves, and then you just try to start to get into counter attacks, and at the end of the day to get the upper hand with ease. So the very first technique I'm going to show you now is to interrupt basic strings with basic attacks. This is basically what I already talked about. It's just you look at the slow movements and try to take advantage, interrupt the opponent right at their start of their string, so that they cannot even complete it and they will be constantly pressured, while you only take that one little hit, while the opponent takes basically 3 of your hits. And of course, Assassin Jade is a nice example, but there are so many other characters who are wide open in their gaps. But since so many people have many problems taking down Assassin Jade, just study what I'm doing here to Jade. Every time when she tries to attack me, I'm just countering right away, don't even letting her get closer to me, and Jade is down without being able to do anything. The second technique, and I find it even easier, is to interrupt basic strings with special attacks. Because usually if you click a special attack right after the first hit, you basically become invincible because the special attack will be then executed no matter what. And it's not like with the basic attacks where you have to see if your character is fast enough to pull that counter attack off. So in most cases, the special attack is the faster and safer way to interrupt your opponent's attacks. And of course, this always only works on basic attacks, so when the opponent is using basic strings on you and you just get in between the gaps. And the good thing here now with interrupting via a special attack is that you can even interrupt very fast basic combos, so that you are not that limited as if you would counter with only basic attacks. And the main idea here is the same. You just look for the gap and execute your special attack, be it special 1, special 2. And the right timing, of course, always depends on your opponent. For example, like a Conqueror Shao Kahn is very slow at his opening. So the moment he tries to start to attack you, you already can click your special attack and interrupt him before the first hit even lands. Others, like Takeda, are very slow in between. So it's often the safer option to rather interrupt the basic attack instead of trying to prevent it. This way also seemingly fast characters like Aaron Black are just not capable of really dealing much damage to you. And just look at how slow Jade is, she is gone with like nothing. Also Kenshi's string are so wide open that you constantly can interrupt basically every of his hits. But then we have one more technique, and that would be interrupt basic strings by escape. And that of course means that you are blocking the first attack and then just escaping to your next character. Of course, in terms of an X-ray, that's not really that important because the X-ray is unblockable, but it's more about that you can capitalize on taking not 3 hits and just 1 instead, while you then just escaping and basically disregarding every attempt of your opponent of even trying to hit you. And with the escape technique, you of course can either, after the escape, start up with a new special attack, or you get into a combo. It really depends on how slow your character is reacting. And of course it is always wise to pay good attention to at what point of his string your opponent is at this moment, because then you know exactly how to counter this attack. But there is like one more, and that's really a difficult one, and I call it playing possum. And that's basically a rare one and more as a bonus. So in this case, it's easy to practice on Jason. You click a special attack, hold block, and then just let go in the moment you see the gap. So basically your special attack is already activated, but the block prevents it from executing. So the moment you let go of block, immediately the counter, while the opponent is still in his movement and unable to block it. Because they would need the time to get their arms up to block this attack, but if you interrupt that in the millisecond their special attack is over, boom, you're wide open, you get all the damage, the special attack lands, you can snare an opponent depending on what kind of buffs you are using. 1, 2, 3, 4, let go, and Jason dead. And again, this time a little slower. 1, 2, 3, 4, let go. And we counter with a combo, special 2. Now we click the special 2 by Freddy, we block, so the special attack will not be executed, and now we let go. And Jason takes the damage. Same goes with Reptile, and let go. So Raiden can now perform his special one. Let me show you again, and pay attention to when I click the special attack. Here it's clicked, now block, then let go. So it's basically you are armed to the teeth, just the opponent doesn't know it yet. And that is pretty much interruptive gameplay. And I think if you learn some of these techniques, they will benefit your gameplay a lot and will make it so much more interesting, because you're not really, like it's mostly criticized, it's just tap tap and click a special attack. No, that's really, it needs focus, it needs timing, it needs practice, it needs knowledge of your characters and of course the opponent's characters. And if you are just a beginner, then I would absolutely recommend to practice this in challenges. Especially the lower towers, they will have so many weaker characters, so even if you fail and you take the damage, you will not just die, you can practice all over again and again until you start to master that technique and then later on take it to good use in faction wars. And with this we have already reached the end for now. So I thank you once again for tuning in. KC, over and out for today.
Thank you for watching, Australia. If you enjoyed the slaughter and the bloodshed, you can support the channel by clicking on the like button. You can also click on one of the two videos presented by Baraka here. Also make sure that you are subscribed and click the bell notification icon to be notified upon new uploads. You all know the drill. Wound not kill, have a good one, and see you next time.